Please consult with a qualified professional for any investment or financial advice.
Whenever you get a credit card, you really have to think about the discipline of making sure that it's benefiting you.
Right.
And so there's the discipline, and there's also the spending for moderation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do I need this?
This is Pay That Bill, a podcast with your friends at Virginia Credit Union, here to help you pay your bills. I'm Sabrina, a financial educator here at the credit union. If you're new, welcome. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. Today I'm here with Monica. How are you?
I'm good. Sabrina, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Are you ready for the weekend?
Oh, yes, I am ready for the weekend. These summer days are hard. You know, you just want to go to the pool or just spend time outside.
Yeah. Well, when the weather has been nice, because it's been a little brutal. We've had a couple of nice days here.
True that.
So it's Thursday today. So tomorrow is Friday. We've got hopefully a nice, relaxing weekend ahead of us. We've been really busy out in the community.
Yes, we have been really busy out in the community. It's been a chock-full summer of summer programs, teenager camps, middle school camps, working with teachers for professional development, and of course, with the adult population.
Yeah, we're out and about. So I am looking forward to some downtime myself. Yes. So I have to ask, what bill did you pay this week?
Oh, this week, speaking of summer and all of the fun things you want to do during the summer.
Yes.
My big bill this week was credit cards.
Uh-oh.
My credit card bill was double what it normally is.
Not double, Monica.
It was double. But you know what? I use my credit card for food.
Okay.
For travel, like gas.
Yeah.
And it's eating out. I'll just give my credit card because I'd rather use it eating out than my debit card. But we did a lot of eating and traveling this last month. And that one hit a little hard.
And you got birthdays this month too.
Oh yeah.
So that, I'm sure that played a big part of it.
Yes. Everyone falls in June and July. It's heavy. So birthday presents as well, going out and celebrating concerts. We went out to a bunch of concerts at the new amphitheater that opened here in Richmond. I went to go see Dave Matthews. I also went to see Counting Crows.
Awesome.
So I love going to see live music.
I do too. I checked out Teddy Swims. He was not at the amphitheater, but we did enjoy him at VACU Live.
Oh, I would have loved that. His voice.
It was amazing. And my favorite part? They came out wearing Flying Squirrel jerseys.
Love that.
Gave me chills. Loved it. So shout out to Teddy Swims.
Yes.
So speaking of credit cards, can you give our listeners just a little bit of background of what you're doing out in our community and why credit cards are your jam and why you're so big on them?
I know a lot about credit cards from experience.
Okay.
which led me to my career. I specifically at the credit union work on the financial education team with our young adult population.
Okay.
So it is near and dear to my heart to make sure that our youngest generation of spenders are set up for success. And that's helping them with their first car, their first house, their first job, and their first credit card. It can do a great deal to someone's future, just how they start out in the foundation of their financial journey.
Absolutely. That's something that I definitely wish that we had, growing up and in our age. We thinking back when I went to high school, we weren't required to take personal finance classes. And I think I did DECA at most. And while I remember some things.
I didn't know you were a DECA girl.
I was.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. We did the little state competitions and stuff. So that's why I love resume writing and interviewing. But I don't think they really touched on the heart and soul of personal finance, right?
Right. No, we never had any financial education courses unless you were a business student.
Right.
And I'll be honest, I was a show choir girl.
I was in marching band.
So I didn't have the free electives to do any of the business classes. There was the DECA, but anyone could be.
Yes, anyone can be in DECA.
It was fun. It was fun.
Thinking about credit cards and the work that you're doing in the community, things can get a little complicated, especially kind of explaining what they are, how to best use them, because credit cards do tend to have a bad reputation at times. So I am excited to have our resident credit whiz here with me to weigh on some stuff. We do have some questions that we get from the community. If you're listening and you have a question about credit cards or about anything financial, personal finance related, send them to us. We want to go through them. You can send them to PayThatBill at vacu.org. So our first question that I have for you is, and I know it can be a little vague, but what can you use your credit card for?
You can use your credit card for anything.
For anything.
The thing you really need to know, though, is that when you're using your credit card, it's not your money.
Right.
It's borrowed money. And so you have your debit card, which is linked to your checking account. That's that's your money. The same as cash in your wallet.
Right.
Just instead of you having cash, you have a more secure, technology of the debit card. A credit card, you're borrowing the money.
Right.
You're borrowing the money from a lender, and if you don't pay it back on time,
Keyword.
on time, they'll charge you interest. And interest is the cost of borrowing money. It's for the time that it takes to repay that loan. So using a credit card wisely in the beginning and knowing that you are responsible for paying that back.
Right.
It's debt.
Yeah.
You got to pay it back. If you owed money to someone,
I want to be, yeah.
Or if someone owed you money,
Give me my money back.
right.
Please.
Exactly. And so it's the same thing for the lenders. The lenders, they have plans. They want to get paid back. But they also want us as individuals to have the opportunity and the flexible to get the things that we need and that we want when we need them. And then with the understanding that we'll pay them back later.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a really good resource of, one, it's a secure way to pay. It's convenient. So, if you know that you lost your debit card, like I would be panicking because again, like you said, that's my money that is out here. I'm immediately trying to freeze my card. But with a credit card, not saying that you don't want to freeze it and take those measures, but again, it's borrowed money. So you have to also think about like, if I'm going out to eat like a fast food restaurant and I have no intention on paying it back maybe before the interest kicks in, you are paying a loan to get like a cheeseburger or for me like chicken tenders, right?
Yeah, consumption.
Yes.
Consumption. And so you got to be careful with that. I personally like to use my credit card for things like gas, groceries.
Yeah.
I mentioned I've been bad this month with eating out and concerts and all those things. And it happens.
Yeah, it does.
You just have to put yourself back in check. And, I'm going to pay that bill.
Yes.
Sabrina, don't worry, I'm going to pay the bill. But I do know that I need to put myself parameters around it on what I'm using my credit card for and making sure that it doesn't get out of control.
Right, because you don't want to have to carry a balance from month to month. So, which leads me to my next question.
Okay.
So if you are someone that relates to like, I'm going to use my card for everything, I'm going to put, gas, eating out, trips and things like that. Can you give us some insight on how carrying a balance from month to month, like, is it a bad look? Is it something that we want to avoid? Like, give me your insight on that.
Carrying a balance isn't a bad thing.
Okay.
Many people have to do it.
Yeah, they do.
They do have to do it. They don't have the full payment every month. That happens, especially if you're putting trips and you're doing big, large purchases on your credit card. But the most important part is that you have a plan to reduce that balance and that you're not just sitting on the balance and paying interest on it. And you're paying more than the minimum payment each month when the lender says, oh, your minimum payment this month is $15. Well, if you're only paying $15, that's kind of like only paying the interest.
Right.
And you're never getting yourself out of debt.
Right.
And that's the goal. So you want to create a plan and a short-term plan and so 3 months. In 3 months, can I get rid of this debt? Is the goal.
Right. And now when we're looking at our credit card statements, I'm pretty sure it's a requirement now that they have the breakdown of if this is how much you owe, this is your interest, and if you only pay the minimum, this is how much money you're going to end up paying over X amount of time. And when you like really look at those numbers and see like, man, I'm going to take a long time to get out of this debt if I'm carrying this balance from month to month. And especially only carrying, like paying that minimum payment, you're going to pay a lot of money just in interest alone.
I'm glad you brought that up because I do love that they give you, it's like 3 different options of if you pay the minimum, if you pay this much or this much, and how quick you can get out of debt. And when I look at that, I also always think about the opportunity cost of like oh my gosh, I can save $500 by paying this off a little quicker in interest, and then I'll have $500 to do something else.
So speaking of having money to do something else, another big component is making your credit cards like work for you. I also enjoy using my credit card for everyday purchases, for the not only just like the security aspect of it, you're building your credit by building that payment history and whatnot, but I like to be rewarded and incentivized by spending my money, and I definitely take advantage of my rewards credit card. So I'd love to know your thoughts around rewards.
I love rewards. There's 2 different types of people who use their credit card. There's the ones that pay the interest and the credit card companies love because they're profiting off of them. And then there's the other ones that are using the rewards. And the credit card companies paying them. And so good on you for racking up those rewards.
I do love my points.
The points are exciting. They're exciting to see. It's nice to get cash back options. A lot of times these high rewards credit cards that are offered do come with a higher interest rate. Because if you do falter, they want to make money.
Right. It's a give and take.
Yeah. So rewards are great though. If you can get rewards for borrowing money, it's kind of like free money in a lot of ways. I was looking at my rewards, and I typically do get cash back. I typically cash out because then I can use it for whatever I want. But I was looking at my rewards the other day, and we cook, we eat. I feel like this whole podcast is me eating.
I love to eat too.
But I was cooking eggs, and my pots and pans are no longer nonstick. They're horrible.
Especially when you're cooking like something like it's horrible when they're this,
It ruins the dish.
Yeah.
Ruins the dish, the whole thing. And so I went onto my rewards, and I couldn't believe it. But there was like a brand new pot and pan set.
Nice.
There for my rewards that I could get that and get a higher value, dollar value for those points than I would if I cashed out. So, taking time and looking through what the reward options are can be beneficial to your needs, your wants, but also like your personal values. Like they even do like the travel reward points. If you're somebody who loves traveling, you can get some great discounts.
You can, especially with like flight miles and hotels. I do appreciate a cashback reward. I typically buy like the wants or like big higher dollar wants if I save my points long enough for that. But just thinking back, I had a coworker. We used to work together. She would always tell me about how she would put everything on her credit card, like everything. And she's like, she's like, if I can pay a bill on it, I'm paying a bill on it. And I'm like, okay, well, how is that benefiting you? Is it a convenience thing? And she's like, no, like I rack up my reward points. And she had like the cash back. And at the end of the year, that was her holiday shopping money.
Oh, that's so smart.
And I'm like, that's brilliant. So one, like it kept her on a budget because she's like, if I don't have enough reward points, like, sorry, we're not getting as much stuff. But because she made her credit card and her reward system work for her and utilizing in that way, she saved a ton of money at the end of the year and she was already like ready to go. Like by October, she's like, I'm good.
You hear about the holiday blues?
Yeah.
She's found a solution to that.
She has, and I'm someone who always waits till the end of the month. Like I'm at the stores like frantically buying stuff or like frantically getting things together because I waited till the last minute. But
I love that approach, the holiday approach. I might use that.
And so one other thing that we do see a lot of the times, especially as the holiday season kind of ends, because we have like that natural holiday debt cycle where you spend on the credit card and then you got to pay it off. And by the time you pay it off, like holidays time again. And one of the big promotions that we see a lot is those balance transfers. Like you can take the balance that you have right here, maybe you're paying 20% interest on it, and you get a nice shiny 0% introductory rate for this amount of time. So I'd love to get your thoughts on how do I know if a balance transfer is beneficial for me?
No, that's a great question, because balance transfers can help for sure.
Yeah.
But they can also be tricky.
They can.
So you have 3 credit cards and you have a balance on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you can do is you can transfer those balances to a new loan or any type of, or credit card, whatever it is. You can take advantage of the 0%. That's a great promotion, like 0% for 12 months. And then, the goal is to lock in at a lower interest rate.
Right.
Than what you're currently paying.
Because you can slash through that.
Yes. But then, here's the trick. You have to pay it off.
Yeah.
And you have to not use the other credit cards. And so a lot of times what we'll see, especially with young adults, is they'll, take those debts and consolidate them onto one balance transfer, but then they won't stick to the plan. Mm-hmm. And they'll go out with the other credit cards, rack up more debt, or they'll pay one of the payments late on the new debt, mm-hmm. which makes the contract null and void for that 0%. And now they're back up where they were with that, 27% interest rate. And so you want to make it work for you.
Yes.
And I did have, I'll tell this story. There was a young adult I was working with, and they were like, Monica, I have such a great plan. I'm just going to keep opening up credit cards and rolling over balances from one credit card to the new one. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, that's great as long as you have a plan.
Right.
I said, how many times have you done that? He said, 5 times.
Wow.
This individual had 5 credit cards from rolling over balances.
And just like...
And then we checked his credit report, and I was like, let's see how much debt you're in. Let's get this under wraps. Yeah. We worked out a plan, figured out that really wasn't the best way for him mm-hmm. to get out of debt. If you're going to do that balance transfer, put the other cards away.
Yeah.
When I did that originally, starting out for consolidating my loans, because I did that with like credit cards mm-hmm. and my student loans. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those things where I had to get rid of that money. I did not have it with me. Mm-hmm. Deactivate the Apple Wallet cards. Do whatever you got to do to where you're not tempted to get back where you started. And the reason you do a balance transfer is to benefit. It's to help yourself.
To get yourself out of that. Yeah. I when I used to do like credit counseling one-on-one, I had a couple come in and they had done a balance transfer. And their idea, like you said, like we're going to take advantage of this introductory rate, get it all paid off in 12 months and call it a day. Well, it was like month 10 and I don't think we're even like halfway done. And they were looking at like, what is this minimum payment going to be? And they hadn't worked their budget out to accommodate for that. And they were really starting to be in a tight spot. So you really do have to be careful in not necessarily just like knowing yourself, because I think that's the biggest piece when it comes mm-hmm. to any part of personal finance is knowing yourself and putting those safeguards in place. Like if you know that you're going to be tempted to spend, put those cards away mm-hmm. or make it difficult or take the convenience out of it so that you're not getting yourself back into debt or back into some financial trouble. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that you're an advocate for the community and sharing that experience. And I know that credit cards are one of those things that you're passionate about. It's your mm-hmm. jam. But I feel like when we are out and we share a lot about our personal experiences, I think we all have a story of how we got into this industry or why we have a certain thing that is our passion, because maybe we have had a pitfall ourselves. So when it comes to credit card, Monica, I need to know your original story, your villain story, if you will.
Tell-all.
Your tell-all of how you got into your first credit card.
So, like you said, I didn't take personal finance in high school.
We did not.
I went to college freshman year, and this was when, the credit card companies could be on campus mm-hmm. or they'd set up right off of campus. And I was on my way. It was the first month of school.
Okay.
So everything was brand new.
Right.
You're out with your friends. You're trying to be
I'm
an
grown.
adult. Yeah, you have freedom. And it's just such an empowering time in your life. And I was with a group of people, and we were headed to the dining hall for dinner, which was paid for. But there was a table saying free Subway.
Okay.
If you sign up for a credit card. And so that was my first credit card, was for a free Subway sandwich, which is so embarrassing.
Okay. We have a couple of things to address. The first question I have to know is, what kind of sub did you get for a credit card?
The best type of sub, the spicy Italian.
Okay.
Which is, that's my preference.
Okay.
And it was so good. But I remember eating that Subway sandwich and it just being, it was the best. But then there was in the back of my mind, this like pecking at me, like, what have you
What
done?
did you do?
What have you done? And the guilt just hit me. And so while some of the new friends that I had acquired took that new credit card and they bought pizza for the whole dorm, and they just, bought a new wardrobe and new gaming devices for the dorm room, I called my mom. And I enjoyed the sub first.
Okay. As you
I
should.
enjoyed the sub first.
As you should.
But then I called my mom and I said, I made a mistake. And we worked out a plan. We talked through it.
Okay.
We had a deal where I would, because I was in school, I wasn't working, so I had no income.
Right.
She said, Monica, I want you to use this credit card for toiletries.
Okay.
Send me the itemized toiletry list.
Oh.
Because
expense report.
She wasn't just going to give me money. No, itemized receipt, and then she would reimburse it. And that's how I built my credit.
That's awesome.
It turned out to be a good thing.
Yeah, it did.
Subway sandwich still gets me.
Well, Monica, don't be embarrassed, because I think all of us who went to college in this time frame were all targeted in different ways. Yours was a Subway sandwich. Mine was a backpack. It seems like your credit card company was a little bit more transparent with what was going on. Very similar. I was on freshman year, college campus, eyes wide open of, wow, this is a whole new world we're exploring. And this table was like, hey, would you like this nice new backpack? I'm like, you know me, I love a bag. I'm like, sure. And they're like, oh, but you have to fill this out. So I'm like filling it out, and I'm like, again, 18, so I'm just now memorizing my social security number. I'm like, oh, I know this number now. And, I didn't put my campus mail address down because I just never went there. The building was honestly scary, so I just never went over there. So I had it sent to my parents' house. And my parents are old school, so, they believe in, if this is our home, this is our mortgage, this is our mail, regardless of the name. So my dad and my mom, they took a little peek, and they were like, what did this girl do? She got a credit card? Who told her to do this?
Oh, no.
And we didn't really necessarily have, a conversation about it. Honestly, I don't think my dad even gave me the card, and I don't think it registered to me that I even had that credit card. So they kind of, saved me from myself in a sense. But it was just why are we being targeted when we don't know the implications of what we're doing at such a young, vulnerable age? And I know that you are a huge advocate for setting that foundation for our young adults out in the community. And I have to ask, are we seeing that anymore? Do we see that type of targeting on our college campuses with getting that big first credit card out there?
So thank goodness there are laws now.
Yes.
That don't allow financial institutions to set up on campuses or within a proximity,
right,
to take advantage of maybe the younger population that doesn't know better or has more social pressures to spend money.
Yeah.
So we are seeing between the laws of that not being available, but also young adults, they know more.
Yeah.
They're learning about financial education.
Because it's in schools now.
It's mandated for all economics and personal finance classes. That course is mandated in the state of Virginia. So all public high school students have to take that to graduate, which we've seen there's more consciousness of what they're doing when they're doing it, because there's more conversation around it, and we have to talk about it.
We do. We have to constantly just not only educating of what the credit card can do to your credit and whatnot, but just being intentional and thoughtful in the moment of making that decision. We are in a world where instant gratification is a thing. We do not like delayed satisfaction. We want what we want it right now, and we want the convenience behind it. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that things have changed in a way that we are making not only the stride to educate, but to put some safeguards in place so that we are not creating a vulnerable moment for our young adults in their new journey, you know? Mm-hmm. And just speaking about like making those intentional, thoughtful decisions. Another thing that I see a lot of is when we are prompted at our favorite stores to like get into those credit cards. So we might not be on college campuses, but there's a credit card offer just about at every store that we shop at. You all know me very well. You know I'm a shopper. I love getting a good deal. I love getting some new threads at work, but every time I go into a couple of my favorite stores, I'm at the checkout line. I'm a TJ, what is it? A TJ Maxxinista? Is that what they're called?
That's so fun.
So we're at TJ Maxx, and I'm in line, and I hear would you like to save 10% today? And normally I'm just like, no, thank you, and I keep it moving. Like, I've been burned by store credit cards before. My first credit card that I actually knew I was applying for was a store credit card. Mm-hmm. So normally I'm just like, no, I'm good, thank you. Well, are you sure you're going to get reward points and you're going to get this, that, and the other? I'm like, no, thank you. And then if it's really pushy, I ask, I'm like, okay, well, what is the interest rate? Because now I'm curious.
Yeah.
And I know they're just doing their job, but now I want to know, like, what is the rate? Monica, you know they're like well within like the high 20s, maybe like 30s.
Oh, yeah. Credit cards, they're unsecured.
Right.
So you could max out your credit card and nobody can take that stuff away from you.
Right.
So that's why it's more of a liability. So the interest rates are so
much higher.
Mine first was like 29%.
Right. And store credit cards tend to have more of that higher interest rate than maybe like a traditional, like you can use this card anywhere. Mm-hmm. So when I think through this, and when I hear, I know I can stand firm and ground and say like, no, thank you. I know what this looks like. But I get like really antsy when I hear a conversation maybe at the register beside me and they're like, well, yeah, that sounds great. And I kind of want to yell like, don't do it.
Right.
Because I like think through the math of that. Uh-huh. So say we all go into a store with a budget in mind, right? Say it's $100 and you save that 10%. 10% off of $100 is what? Like $10? $10.
Yeah.
And in our minds, we're saving, regardless of if it's almost the same amount of sales tax. So because of that savings, and now we have this brand new credit card that we get to put this on because we're saving, most of us would probably go back and put another $100 worth of products in our basket, maybe the stuff that we were kind of like contemplating on getting.
Oh, yeah.
So now that $100 purchase is $200. We're saving 10%. That's $20.
And we're justifying more spending because we might be getting rewards points too.
Right. Yeah. So it's all set up that way. So, we're now officially spending more already in this store before the physical card is even in our hands. Well, we know from experience that extra $100 that we were going to spend may not have been in our budget. Mm-hmm. And so when that statement comes in for that credit card, most of us may not pay it off in full. We might just pay that minimum payment.
Yeah.
And how much interest now we're paying on that original purchase. So is there a savings at all?
Yeah. You're exactly right. With whenever you get a credit card, you really have to think about the discipline of making sure that it's benefiting you.
Right.
And so there's the discipline and there's also the spending for moderation. Mm-hmm. Do I need this? Do I need, more?
And we'll convince ourselves,
right.
Absolutely, we do need it. And then we justify it on that end and we still make the purchase.
I mean, I love a deal.
Yes.
I love a deal.
Yes.
But also knowing that this is how companies make money mm-hmm. is important to realize.
And now, with social media and everything is in the palm of our hands, we are seeing such an influx of influencers showing us and telling us how great this purchase is. Like, you should buy this. And, I think through a lot of the things that I've personally purchased that I would have never known existed had I not seen it on social media. Like, how many Stanley tumblers do I need because it came in another color?
Right.
You all at work pick on me all the time about how many cups I have.
Most stylish.
So when we think about like being influenced to purchase something, we are also seeing a rise in financial influencers. I think it's called Finfluencers.
Oh yeah.
So as someone, we work for the credit union. We have experience in personal finance. You have an education background. When you see these influencers talking about personal finance and things that you should and shouldn't do come across your newsfeed, how do you personally vet who you're listening to, and is their word like the gospel of what they're pitching to you?
I think everybody wants to tell you something.
Yes.
But making sure that you know who you're listening to and question them, go, oh, I wonder why they would say that, and go back. Nowadays you can just Google anybody and know, what are their credentials, learning about their story, like what life lessons have they gone through that maybe I can learn from,
right?
Help me really verify content that I'm getting, and I really like when financial educators and finfluencers out there, they're honest about their vulnerability within the industry, because it's easy to have things happen, but to hear the story of how they got out,
right?
That to me is powerful and worth listening to, and also thinking, would that work for me?
Right. Because it's not a blanket, it's not a box, it's not a one size fits all. And I like how you mentioned like doing your research, because if someone's telling you like you should save $30,000 every month, like, one, we know that that's not a realistic thing. And why is this person saying that? Let me Google this. Let me take an extra second and just like we might trust what we see, but we really do need to verify who's on the other end of the screen. And I love how you shared about like a personal story. Like, you may not have like all of the credentials of being like a financial planner, but like if you have been through something and you've experienced it and you've been in the trenches, you can share how you went through it and how you got out of it. I think that's the real heart and soul of it is, because we're here on social media and creating content about influencing, and we're not here to influence, but we really have a pure heart of educating, but it's easy to see like what makes them different. So I think it's important that
Google us.
Yeah, you can Google
it's all
us.
out there.
Google the credit union. And when someone doesn't have like that backing of a financial institution, like I think it's really important to take that extra step in like vetting who you're listening to and taking that advice from.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of social media and all of the information that is out there in the world when it comes to personal finance, Cherry sat down with someone very special for our team, and our good friend Tiffany Aliche, a.k.a. the Budgetnista.
The Budgetnista.
I know you've read her books.
Oh.
You're a big fan, I know. We are all fans of Tiffany. She's wonderful.
So good.
So Cherry sat down with Tiffany because, she's big on social media and she's, I would say, one of the best finfluencers out there. But she gave Cherry a peek behind the curtain of her journey in creating content on social media about personal finance. So I'm really excited to hear what they have to say. But before we pitch it to them, I do want to say thanks for sitting with me. Thanks for sharing your story and your journey. I now know that you love Subway Italian subs. So if we ever have to go out to lunch, that's where we're going.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Sabrina.
We'll send it over to Cherry and Tiffany.
You are the ultimate finfluencer, right? You are on social media, you're on TV. So there's so much financial content and so much going on in the world. How do you focus in on specific topics as you're putting your content out? How do you come up with that? And is there something right now happening that you think is the most important thing to focus in on?
One thing I learned from teaching for so many years, that a good teacher is an even better learner and listener. I don't decide. I let my audience decide. And so
that's good.
Because I'll know, like in the beginning, I didn't used to do that. I'm like, I would create these elaborate classes and work on them for months and months and months. And then nobody would sign up. And I would say, why? This is so good. They're like, yeah, but I don't want that. And then finally I was like, wait, Tiffany, did you ask what they wanted? And then they would come in droves. And I thought, hello. And so I read comments. Sometimes I'll little just ask, hey, what are you guys struggling with? I would love to create a thing or teach a free class or do a live on, and people will tell me. And that's what we build.
Okay.
You
give people what they want. Yes.
Yes. That part is really critical. So just asking people what they want, leaning and listening, and then developing alongside. So I used to do finished product, and then we would have worked so much and spent so much money on the finished product only for it not to land. So now when I'm building, I will build a little and say like this, oh no, like this. And I build and share until we have a collaborative like course or whatever it is I'm building. And I know I built it specifically with my audience in mind, and they're going to be happy, and so will I.
Oh, so you're continuing to be open to recreating that content based upon what's going on in the need. And that makes you relevant. For someone trying to kind of break into that, what are some tips that you would have for them?
Well, then you have to be, you don't actually have to be visible unless you're wanting to be visible, But so if it's because you want to be like a financial personality, then you have to consistently show up and be visible, even when just one person is watching. I can remember, Cherry, that one time, like, who was it? It was the library, like New York Public Library. They invited me to, like, I don't know, maybe like their library in the Bronx, and said, oh, come to a financial, session. They weren't paying, but I just said, okay. I came. There was me, the security guard, and one lady.
Oh, I've been there too. Totally. There, yes.
But me and the security guard, we took a picture, and I posted online and said, had so much fun teaching a financial education. Here's a couple of the people that came, because it was a couple.
Yeah, it still counts. They count.
Yes. But that's the thing. I think people don't understand that consistently showing up, because it went from 2 people, then 20, and 20 to 50, then 50 to 200, and then it grows. And so I think that the key is the consistency. So many people give up because it doesn't like spark right away. But quite honestly, like it's not supposed to. It's a cumulative effort. And so I would just say, keep showing up. Don't be afraid to do things for free. And take away a lesson from every time you show up. So every time I would do a speaking engagement, I used to have a notebook to write down like what I said that the crowd seemed to like, what they didn't like, where I kind of felt a little unsure, until I got really good at presentations.
Oh, wow. That is some great advice. Critiquing yourself, even taking feedback from others just to make yourself better, and saying yes to every opportunity out there. I think that's so important. Is there a mentor or someone in your life that you take financial advice from?
Well, still my dad. He's 85 and as sharp as ever. I mean, to
That's
this
awesome.
day, I have a CFO. I have which is a chief financial officer. I have a CPA, an accountant, right? And I also have my what is Anjali? She's a CFP.
Okay.
This is just for the audience. I know you know, Terry, but like what is a CFP? A certified financial planner, right?
Yes.
Even with all of that, my dad will say, let me see those taxes. Just make sure they did them right. And he's like, ask them this question. Why did they do this? And so I love that though. So yeah, so he is still one of my go-tos, but I also have because of this amazing space I'm in, I know people who are like experts in specific components of personal finance. It's really important that if you're going to be a teacher, you have to be a better student, because I cannot possibly be an expert in every single thing. And so I lean into people. My friend Cabral, who is from a legacy business, his family owns an eyeglass center called Elegant Eyes here in Newark, and it's over 60 years old. His grandparents started it, then his mother, now him and his siblings. And so they have seen every level of business.
Yeah.
And so whenever I have a question, if he doesn't know how to answer to, I'm like, can you ask Miss Denise? That's his mom, because she has seen it all. After 60 years, she's like, oh, well, at 85, we went through that. This is what you should do.
What's something you think people underestimate about personal finance?
I think people underestimate their capability of being able to do it. That most people have a confidence issue. It's not a capability issue. As a teacher, I can see it. I'm like, wait, so you raised 2 human beings and you think that budgeting is hard? I promise you, bedtime is way harder than setting a budget together.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
That like, I wish people knew just how capable of the work they were.
Yeah.
That it sometimes it's the language that's confusing, but not the actual doing. Oftentimes it's kind of like a set it and forget it. Like, oh, if I put these things in place, like I love to tell people, split it before you get it, right? So this is a way of budgeting without budgeting. You go to HR or payroll and say, hey, I actually want to split my paycheck into 4 different accounts, 2 checking, 2 savings. Checking 1, that is for my bills. Do a little math and decide how much per paycheck needs to go into a bank account just for your bills. Checking 2, for spending. So typically this is what's going to be left over. So after you do a little math, you realize, well, after I pay bills and I save and things, this is what's left over for groceries and entertainment and grooming. That goes into checking account number 2. I tell people for your bills account, tell them you don't want a debit card because I don't want you swiping your bills at your local store.
Right.
Yeah. But for your spending account, absolutely, get a debit card for that. Then savings account number 1, I tell people this is for emergency savings. You ideally want to get to at least 3 months, ideally 6 months or more of your basic expenses. That way, if an emergency hits, you have the money. And then savings account number 2 is for goals. You might not even get to savings account number 2 right away, and that's fine. But if you want to buy a house or a car or whatever that is, you can start to stash it away there. So those 4 accounts, 2 checking, 2 savings, if you split your money before you get your money, you can do that. It might take you 30 to 45 minutes to do the math at home. Then you go to HR or payroll, ask them to make the split. And then literally, when money comes in, your bills are sent to bills, your savings are sent to savings. What's on your debit card, you can use for spending. And you don't have to be as disciplined as you think. And something like that, I'm like, if you're getting up every morning, getting dressed and figuring out, does this blue go with this green? You can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Something simple, tangible,
Yes.
and they can do right away.
Yes.
And yeah, everyone can do that.
Pay That Bill is a podcast designed to entertain and, more importantly, educate. The show is produced by Virginia Credit Union and is developed alongside our award-winning financial education team. We have a library full of free resources available online that can help you on your journey to financial success. If you want to learn more about what we talked about today, check out the links we have in the description of this episode. The information provided in Pay That Bill is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. While we aim to share helpful insights and general strategies, every listener's financial situation is unique.